Greetings, ladies and gentle readers. I'm Dwyron, and I read me a couple of books last year in good old 2025. And I thought I would bring you some of my top reads of the year. Now, right away, I do have to say I did not read quite as much as I wanted to read because I've completed my own book, actually, and that really cut into my reading time. But I did still take some time to read, and here are some honorable mentions in no particular order of things that you might, if you are into fantasy and science fiction, maybe you want to read as well. Now, right off the top of the bat, we've got All the Skills 5. All the Skills is a pretty decent book, all things considered. Some people have expressed some problems with it, and those problems are well deserved. For example, you would think all the skills means the main character is going to possess all the skills. But all is a very, very, very big word. So you might think, hey, why isn't he using this skill set or that skill set? Or why isn't he doing this or that? And you can tell it's because the author is trying to drive the book in a certain direction, the series in a certain direction. And it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It might not be the hand down best thing you've ever read, but 5 came out in March. Okay. Been a long year. 5 came out in March, and it was all right. Now, those of you who have seen the channel before, you might remember that if I scroll down into the series, I liked 1 and I liked 2. 3, I think, is the one that I said fell off a bit, or was it 4? Either 3 or 4 fell off a bit, and I was wondering if it could be saved, and 5 is back to being good. I think 1 is by far and away the best in the series. I think 2 does a pretty decent job as well, and after that, they're pretty solid reads. I was in no way disappointed. Now, here's something I'm going to throw in here, even though it didn't come out last year. I read it last year. Artifact Space came out in 2022. And science fiction about a girl that steals onto a very, very big ship that goes to, well, all over the galaxy, really. And her trying not to be found out that she shouldn't really be there. She had to do a little bit of trickery to get on. I mean, she's qualified for the most part. But yeah, it was an interesting tale. I was in the mood for some science fiction. I saw that Artifact Space kind of came recommended, and I enjoyed the read. In fact, I don't think I've read in this series, scrolling down, sorry. Yeah, I have not read Deep Black, and I didn't even know, just released, and I've not obviously read Whale Song yet, but I do intend to go back and read those 2 as well. For those of you who are interested, essentially the main character is on a really huge ship, this kind of thing here in, yeah, you can kind of see it there in the shadow there. For some reason, they decided to go back and change their cover too. Like you can see here that this apparently is them now? I don't know. I think I like the other one. I think I like the other cover better. But yeah, now he's kind of a pilot on board a, what looks like a fighter, which is weird. That's not really the feeling of the book in any way, shape, or form. So I'm not really sure why they decided to change the cover to that. But it's definitely more about her on the great ship that is responsible for trade between humanity and the kind of little bit of plot that she finds herself in from people who are apparently bent on destroying them, making them all go kaboom. Really dug it, and I give it my recommend. Now, Gallows Born is something that I just reflexively kind of clicked on, but I don't think I read it until 2025. I don't think I got around to reading it until then. Don't quote me, I'm not sure, so I'm adding it here as well. It's not science fiction. It's not, some of the standard litrpg cultivation that I tend to read, but it's interesting. There are 2 POVs. Usually multi-POV kind of gives me the ick a lot of times nowadays, because it's like, oh, great, wonderful. It's, let's say, how many pages was this? This was a Go Fish number of pages, apparently. Oh, no, here we are, 444. And if there's a 2 POV and they take up half the book, then you're not going to like half the book. So multi POVs are kind of hit or miss for me. This one I didn't mind so much. Essentially, it's about I wouldn't really call it an epic Viking fantasy. Obviously, they borrowed heavily from that sort of culture, but they're not exactly, hopping into long ships and going raiding or anything like that. The story is quite nicely kind of summed up here. They're not living in the mist. The mist is very, very big bad. Monsters are in the mist and they will eat you. And we have one POV of a girl growing up in the mist with a more warrior culture, and the kid who is a little bit on the outskirts that was thrown into the mist and left for dead as a baby because of the sins of the mother, quote unquote. So, interesting dynamic. The characters were fascinating. I actually really enjoyed them. I was curious to see where the world was going to go. You've got, I don't want to give away too much. Does it mention the gods in this one? I don't think it does. Contains a body of a Norse. Okay, yeah, okay, it does. Good, great. Because, yeah, there's like a body of a god that's still like giving off powers or whatever. And the outside is like, hey, your god's dead. We're going to come and kill you now. So it's interesting. It was interesting. Haven't read something quite like it before. It's not reinventing the wheel, but it definitely has its own flavor. So I enjoyed and I definitely recommend Gallows Born. Now, the grand game is going to be hit or miss for a lot of people because this is a litrpg adventure. And a lot of the litrpgs nowadays don't really deserve the term because a litrpg, the letters don't just mean nothing. It's a literature role-playing game. So when I'm looking at a litrpg, I am kind of, a lot of the times, looking to see what would actually make or feel like a role-playing game is actually being played out, right? And Grand Game is one of the titles that is best in the genre in that sense. A lot of times you're going to get a book that's a litrpg in the sense that it just has, stats in place of the magic system. And then after that, it would be an absolute terrible, terrible, terrible role-playing game that you would never actually want to sit down and have DM'd. Because a lot of times it'd be like, all right, so what are we doing this adventure? Go kill that wolf. Okay. Go kill that deer. Is it for anything? No, just do it. Okay. There's a baboon over there. Go kill that. Like, this would be a really, really, really stupid role-playing game that you would never come back to. You know the books I'm referring to. Like, there's no overarching plot. There's no real meaning to anything you're doing. There's nothing you're like working to uncover. It would be a terrible game. It'd be a terrible game. Like Baldur's Gate 3, it would not be. But something like Grand Game, I think a good company like Larian Studios could actually take the Grand Game and I think, could probably make it a fantastic role-playing game. So the Grand Game I do recommend, but like a lot of role-playing games, some of it can get kind of tedious. And I think sometimes he goes a little bit overboard being excited about all of the stats that he comes up with. And he like has whole character sheets that he makes out and he puts on his website, I do believe, so you can keep track. It gets a little much. It gets a little much. It really, really does. Again, a company like Larian, in the hands of this, would definitely take those like huge stats things and trim those suckers down to be a lot more manageable and digestible. But aside from that, I still like it. I keep following up for the next book, so I give it my recommend. Over the course of these two books that came out, because book 8 and 9, I think 8 and 9 came out, right? Yes, 8 and 9 came out this last year. Oh God, which one? What did we have? What did we have? I don't remember where one begins and the other ends. Essentially, over the course of the last two books, the main character is finally stepping into the role of someone all of the other powers that be are going to want to murder on sight and kind of no longer able to be hidden. Yeah, he's grown to the point where he can't hide anymore. Everyone's going to know he exists, and they're coming for him. His secret is out. So 10 is probably going to be absolutely crazy whenever that releases. I've enjoyed the journey so far and hope you do too. Guild Mage Apprentice might be my most recommended of the entire year. I'm a little bit surprised actually that this is only 616 reviews. It deserves way, 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 way more. But I think Amazon is also from June, July, August, somewhere in there onwards, have kind of redone how they're doing reviews, because I've noticed significantly less reviews on even some of the biggest titles. So I'm not sure how they're going back and sort of recalculating the number of reviews, or I don't get it. I don't know what's going on there. But this is a really, really great series. Really great series. Essentially, you have a half-elf growing up in an all-human kind of like frontier town, I guess you'd say. And the problem with that is, as a half-elf, she's going to live significantly longer than all of her human counterparts, which you definitely start feeling in the first 3 books that are out right now. There is definitely a sense that, hey, these mortals are mortal. I mean, she is too, but they're more so. And you like see like her mom like growing up and getting older, her childhood friend obviously aging way faster and settling down with a family. Just things like that. Over the course of the 3 books, she's studying magic. Fantastic. But it also means she can just casually study magic for like 20 years before she has to go to school to learn magic, where she's way beyond all of the students there, clearly, because she's literally been studying it for like, 15, 20 years, and they've been doing it for 2 or 3 most. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. The backdrop of that is the old gods that were kind of cast down. One of them's crawling back up. And unfortunately, humans are being humans. And they're like, it's not our problem. It's someone else's problem. We're doing our own thing. It's like an over there thing. So yeah, there's all these little things coming together. I really like the world. I really like the character. I think they're doing an elf growing up amongst humans really well. Like, I believe she's as old as she is, that the problems that she's encountering as this long-lived creature growing up among not so long-lived creatures, I totally believe that that's real, and a lot better than some of the not so well written lit RPGs that I've come across. Now, there is a magic system. Everyone has their own. No, sorry. No, that's not true. Everyone has their own cantrips, which is, hearken from D&D. But to go beyond cantrips to what the equivalent of like level 1 magic and beyond, you need to be imprinted with a word. She was born with a word due to her descent as an elf who's descended from one of the gods, like a direct descendant from one of the gods. She has a word already in her. Anyone else has to be imprinted with the word, which isn't easy to come by. Because, again, humans being humans, jealously guarding their words and kind of selling out their abilities. So, definitely a nice, refreshing take on some pretty old concepts. But it makes everything feel new again. And I cannot recommend Guild Apprentice enough. Just note that if you're an adrenaline junkie and you have to have a fight on like every 10 pages, skip it. You won't like it, because this actually has like character development, world development, and and all that stuff. But it does make the fights more interesting, in my opinion. Just saying. And there are some doozies. Hedge Wizard 6. Oh my god. I've been loving me this series. This is by far and away the best lit RPG series that's currently out. The grand game, I know I mentioned that. But like I said, that one can get a little bit overboard with like all of the different stats that don't mean anything. The numbers start to blur and they don't mean anything. And that's kind of annoying. But this one is litrpg progression. The stats, quote unquote, is from literally a book he has that he's carrying with. You can like see it in almost all the covers. Like you can see it like right there, right? Yeah, right there. That little book is essentially its own system of sorts that can categorize and give you all the rundown on what's what. But this is absolutely 100% something that once again could be taken and made into an actual RPG from the first book onwards. Now, some people who have recommended to say the first book was a little bit slow. And I agree and disagree with that. Like, I do agree that he's not fighting like every, 10 pages or whatever, but he's also starting with barely a few cantrips to his name, right? And he really, really, really has to grow into his own power. And the book really, really, really sets up the idea that dungeons in this world are kind of like, in a lot of ways, the cornerstone of an economy. Like, there's huge undertakings to go into a dungeon to get the resources, and it's expected that a lot of people are going to die. It's not oh, my name is, Edgy McStabberson, and I'm going to go in there by myself and kill everything because the author is going to give me everything I ever wanted, and ho ho ho, and I'm going to come out rich and everyone's going to love me. Like, it's not one of those trash novels. This world actually makes sense. And the laws that govern everybody else also apply to the main character. Go figure that one, huh? Synopsis of the series in general is, yeah, this book is special AF. Used to be his master's. His master died for this book. And everybody wants to get their hands on it. Long story short. Though he does not know that at first. Oops. Over the way, he like learns more about what it is to be a wizard, the difference between himself and this part is weird. There are warlocks in this book that are very, very, very bad. But generally, wizard kind is very, very frowned upon because their magic isn't tied directly to a god who grants them their power, because that means they can easily, go into using it for, bad purposes and dark magic and all that good stuff. And those people are called warlocks. But technically, everybody else is getting their magic directly from a deity. And I think that also makes all of them warlocks too, technically, by D&D standards, right? Because magic's not theirs. It's kind of being granted from Mr. Godface that's kind of imprinting these sigils in your soul. And yeah, it's a weird one. That's a weird one. But I love the story. Let's see, the last book that came out, he is knocking on the door to a threshold that mortals aren't supposed to be able to cross. And I don't want to get into more there because there's a little bit of a secret there for those of you who have not entered the series yet. And I think that's about to give him a lot of undue attention. Oh, also the world's about to be destroyed. So that's the thing that's happening because they failed to stop that. So yeah, next book's going to be very interesting. But there is some time between the books, like almost a year, in fact, because you can tell that he really, who is the author? Alex Marr, is really taking time to make sure he fleshes out his story from book to book. And the characters that are in it, he's not just yada, yada, yadaing. Like, the characters are real. They have their own motivations. And you can just tell he's making sure that he's telling each tale correctly. By far, best lit RPG currently going on. I don't care how many reviews it has. As a lit RPG with a fully fleshed out world, as a role-playing game with a fully fleshed out world, Hedge Wizard is probably the best. Period. Now, right on the heels of Hedge Wizard, we have Iron Blooded over here. A lit RPG that is again breaking off from the norm of, hey, I'm, edgy McStab, and I'm just going to be on, a quest for vengeance to randomly kill everyone I see and get everything I ever wanted, and I don't need anybody, and blah de blah de blah de blah de blah. Like, this is a gritty, realistic lit RPG. It's not traditional fantasy like Hedge Wizard. It's a bit more, again, like darker and gritty. And you get the sense immediately that his whole stat thing that he's got going on is for reasons that I'm not sure if we're told in the first book. Hold on, because there's two of them right now. Or wait, there's a third? There's not a third. Third's not out yet, right? No, third's not out yet. Third's coming out in March. There we go. Yeah, I don't remember if we've found out exactly what's going on with that whole him having stats and leveling up as easy as he does. But yeah, it's a bit on the forbidden side. And he's in the army. This dude finds himself in the army fighting goblins and figuring out like how the world works and operates, and it's fantastic. Iron Blooded is great. It's one of the things that I will reread. A lot of lit RPG. It's kind of like McDonald's, It's like, I mean, that is okay. It's technically food. It was enjoyable for the evening, but it's not something I am eagerly going back to. Iron Blooded, like Grand Game and Hedge Wizard, are probably things I'm probably gonna go back to because they've actually got substance to them, unlike so many other books that kind of plague the genre that just really don't. Like when you turn them over, nothing's really there. This, not like that at all. Now, Iron Tyrant are next on next up we have Iron Tyrant. I don't think I read book 1. Did I read book 1 this year? I don't know, doesn't matter because there's like 2 and 3 out now. And also pretty decent. Little bit more gritty, but I would say not to the extent of Iron Blooded. For example, is kind of like little bit between the two. I do like it. In some instances, I think things were done a little bit quickly in the writing department, but it's also Seth Ring, so I'm not entirely surprised because he writes a lot. Like right now, does he have 2 or 3 series currently ongoing? Let me see, publication date. Let me look at this real quick. He's got Iron Tyrant, right. He's got Audible coming out. Yeah. He's got, yep, he's got the Exilian series. Yeah. It looks like he's got whatever this Dreamer's Throne is. I don't think I've ever read it before. What are you? Did you come out last year as well? No, you didn't. Looks like okay, so it looks like he's got the Tower series, the Exilian series. He's got Brain Freezing. He's got the Iron Tyrant series. And so I think he's got at least 3, maybe 4 series going at once. So sometimes some things feel a little bit kind of rocky. And I kind of wonder if it's because he's got deadlines that he has to meet on multiple frigging series that have to be released in the same year. So it's good. I like a lot of the ideas, but in some cases, man, it just kind of feels like that really could have been fleshed out more. You really could have done a little bit more with this. And I find myself circling back to, is the reason you didn't explore this more because you're on a timetable? Tick tock, you got 2 more books to write. I don't know. Either way, it's good. Sometimes it's even very good. But I always had that feeling like, man, this could be really, really great. And I think the last book that came out is very guilty of this because there was, let's see, in the last book, it felt like half of the book was conversation, and then they just went on an adventure to somewhere, and that was resolved really easy. Like that, huh? Like it was wordy. You like the got the word count in, and it wasn't a terrible read, but it kind of felt like it fell off a bit, you know? But I liked it anyway. It was good. It's a little bit disappointing in some respects, but it was okay enough. But I'm not sure I'm rereading it at the same time. So I don't know. I don't know. This one is the one that I really want to recommend, but I could definitely see it being hit or miss, depending on the audience. Next up is very controversial for me because I've got thoughts on this book. Matabar, a progression fantasy epic. Oh, okay, 1,200 pages. Like you can, congratulations for releasing a 1,200 page book. There is definitely a spot right in the middle where you could have cut it into two. And in my own book that I wrote right now, I cut mine into two because I was nearing like 200,000 words, and it's just like, crap, this thing ain't done yet, bro. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna make sure that this is all, tidied up, and I'm gonna release this as its own book. Otherwise, we're getting into Sanderson territory here. And I didn't want to do that. But at the same time, I'm not sure who Kirill Klevanovsky is. He's got his face here, so I believe he's a real person. He was born in St. Petersburg, so English is probably not his first language. And occasionally, I just closed that. I didn't mean to close that. And occasionally, especially in the early parts of this first book that's out, book 2's not out yet, but in this early one, it was rocky. It felt like a little bit of a translation thing. There was some overly flowery descriptions on things that didn't really need the overly flowery descriptions. And I kept thinking to myself, man, is this just like a translation thing? Because there's definitely a story here. There's absolutely a story here. And I'm for it because it touches on things that you don't normally see. It goes like shamanistic with the main character like tapping into kind of like, or being taught by the great spirits of his people, essentially, in a world that is undergoing the Industrial Revolution. So like, where does, spirits and shamanism and whatnot, where does that role play in a world that is completely being redone with the advent of, machines and, just the world getting smaller as technology is expanding? Like that was like, okay, you've got a really cool story here. But the translation, I'm not sure if it's a translation thing or if in bits and part of this, maybe, I don't want to say AI. I do not want to say AI. I don't think it was that. I think it was a translation thing. So if you do read it, it's going to probably be a little rough in some areas. And there's definitely two books. The book one, where he's undergoing training from, the spirits of his people, and even learning who the heck they were. And then two, where he's actually going to a city and figuring out how he's going to make ends meet there, how he's going to make money to pay for the things. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But I liked it. Overall, I thought it was good. It took me a minute to push past some of the initial rockiness of the opening, for sure. But getting past that, I think it was okay. And I'm hoping it's not AI, which is why some of it was flowery and whatnot. And I am looking forward to book 2 whenever it comes out. Hey, when are you coming out? You're coming out in February. How long is that going to be? That's a really great question. Who knows? So yeah, Matabar does not appear to be on a lot of people's radar, unfortunately. Take that for what you will. But I do give it my recommend. I definitely give it my recommend. All right, this next one, good old Millennial Mage. I'm a fan of. I don't know what to say. I've been enjoying it. This is definitely something that is hit or miss because some people get into the series not realizing what slice of life means. It means that this is a character who's going about her day-to-day life. She went to school. It wasn't really up to her. She was she has a bit of, magicness, and her parents more or less sold her to school to, yeah, yeah. And then she has to like work off the debt for that. And it's a whole thing. That's how the series starts. And that definitely colors some of her opinions on some things that happen through the series. But I enjoy finding more about this particular world that Tala is in, because in a nutshell, you've got humans. Humans are able to use magic by pulling in magic from essentially the next world, like whatever it happens to be. Like the world that comes after life, they're pulling in magic through that, which is destabilizing the world around them. So the more humans you have in one area that are pulling in magic this way, the more that region is destabilizing and will actually fall apart. You'll start having holes in reality forming because there are too many of these, points of magic pulling in things from another world. I'm pretty sure we don't find that out for a while. It might have been a little bit of a spoiler, but that's generally how it works. As a result, humanity has to keep moving their cities around from place to place to let where they were heal up again. Okay? That's generally what's going on. Now, the beasts around them, they interact with magic in a different way, because magic is flowing naturally through the world in higher and lower concentrations. And the beasts just absorb it ambiently, unlike the humans, which makes them stronger than the average human. So whenever they're moving around between cities, they need to do so heavily armed. Like, it's a whole thing to protect themselves from the world around them. And then there are other intelligent beings in the world who also absorb magic that way, who are naturally stronger than pretty much all of humanity. Well, not all of humanity, but the overwhelmingly majority of humanity. And the only way the humans exist is by is actually by having like a tentative peace treaty with them and not getting in anyone's way. So as she's going about this world, like, you're kind of wondering what's over the next horizon. What else is in this world? Do we find more about the world beyond? Some of those questions we do have answers to. As she's becoming an immortal, because as you get more magic, eventually you're just not going to die to old age and sickness or disease. So you are effectively immortal unless someone cuts your head off. And even then, depending on your magic set, you might just regrow yourself. So like, your soul has to be completely destroyed in order to actually cease to exist. So what the frack are you going to do with eternity? Like, what are you going to devote yourself to? What are your drives going to be? Are you just going to let yourself be unmade when you're tired of life? Like, a whole bunch of these crazy friggin' questions that are throughout the series that I just friggin' love. So yeah, so far, I absolutely love it. I will admit, I love some of them more than others. Book 5, where we found the building that eats people, I really love that one. The first one, I really loved that one. Like, those by far and away really, really, really stick out to me. Escal, where she's kidnapped by some of those super strong other intelligent life forms and essentially made into a slave. And she has to kind of break free of that. I thought that was just absolutely phenomenal. As well as book 8, where she's coming home and has to deal with all of that trauma that she's just been through and seeing if she's still welcome in human society given some of the changes that she's undergone. Like, it's great. I will admit, Voidbound, I think, and Flockbound were a little on the slow side. I think those were a little bit on the slow side. But it feels like we're wrapping up certain ends with some of the little loose edges that they had running. And I think we're about to start or continue something different. So I'm really looking forward to 12. And that's all I'll say there. But yeah, I do recommend it. This is something that I do actively reread. Nightmail Realm Summoner, litrpg Adventure by Actus, so whoever that is. I wasn't sure if I really wanted to put this here, honestly, because in terms of a lit RPG, it doesn't really stand up to some of the great ones that I've mentioned so far, like Hedge Wizard, Iron Blooded, Grand Game. It doesn't really stand up to some of the progression that I've mentioned, like Millennial Mage or arguably Guild Mage. I would say it might not even stand up to all the skills. So, like, it wasn't a terrible read, but it read like fast food. You know what I mean? Like, it was good for what it was. I don't feel any great desire to reread it, but I don't regret that I did. You know what I mean? So, it was fine. It was fine. I think the blurb is a little bit misleading, though. So you can see here, it tries to be like really edgy. It's like, Alex didn't get the memo. He loves the challenge. Where others might have seen certain death, he finds something else, opportunity. So it kind of makes it feels like he's like edgy McEdgelord trying to just like go and kill people, and it's like, oh, I'm better than all of you because you'd all die and I'm just amazing. And it doesn't really read that way, which is good. If it did, I'd just label it as garbage and throw it away. Like, the place he finds himself in isn't because he wanted to be there. He's just kind of making the best of it and trying to figure out how to, actually work and deal with his, unique situation that he has. Obviously, it's kind of popular right now to take like a level 1 character in these lit RPGs and put them essentially at the highest difficulty zone ever. And somehow they just live because the author doesn't want them to die. I mean, we've all played RPGs, right? Even MMOs. You know what happens if you, Christ, if you look at even World of Warcraft, you put a level 1 in front of Hogger and you know what's going to happen, and he's only level 10, right? So you can imagine what happens if you put one of these level 1s in Molten Core. That's going to be a very short story. Well, you kind of have to like twist things very carefully to make sure that, when you're doing things like this, your main character doesn't die, even though he totally should. And yeah, that's used as an excuse to give him, powers no one else has and blah, 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 blah. It's not bad. It's not bad. It didn't try to go like into super edgelord territory. So I'm okay with it. Was there book 2 and 3 out? Okay, book 2 is out. I have not read that yet. Did it just come out? Maybe it just came out. Is that why I didn't know about it? Is it just out? Is that why? December 31st. Yeah, literally just came out on the 31st. That's why I didn't know about it. I'll probably grab it and see if it's any good. I'm not sure if I'm really into the story though, because it kind of feels like there's a lot of author coming in and shielding the main character from the positions that he finds himself in, rather than actively trying to figure out a way out of it. So I don't know. I'll probably read it. I have nothing else to read right now, so I probably will. Glowing endorsement, right? Quest Academy, not gonna lie, I still recommend it, but I could see that changing. because I didn't like book 5. I thought book 5 was pretty bad. All like I'm not even gonna hide it. I'm pretty sure I left my review here. Can I find it? Like I know I left a review here. It's probably just this one. My review is actually gone. Okay. All right, never mind. My review's gone for some reason. I don't know how that happened, but sure. Essentially, there's no tension in the book anymore. Tension's all gone by Quest Academy 5. I liked that it was there in the first one and the second one, but by the 5th book here, he can make anything he wants. It costs him nothing to make anything he wants. So the rarity system is no longer matters because nothing is rare anymore. Everyone's firmly on Team MC. He's getting pushback from nobody about anything, and it's just turned into wish fulfillment, which is a problem. I don't like just blatant wish fulfillment where the main character gets to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, buy whatever he wants, build whatever he wants, learn whatever he wants, and that come at absolutely no cost. And everyone's just like cheering him on and just trying to be his friend. It's like, no, it's a huge drop off from book 1, where in book 1, you had the main character sometimes being wrong because they didn't know the whole story. But here it's just like, it can never be wrong. It's just always, I don't recommend it. I'd wait and find out the reviews for book 6. If book 6 saves the series, fine. If it goes more into wish fulfillment, then just don't read Quest Academy unless you like wish fulfillment. Because at the moment, that's where this is. And I know that's deeply, deeply, deeply loved in the genre, right? It's essentially the opposite of romantasy, as I've always said, which is fine. If that's your jam, that's your jam. If you like romance, great. There's wildly popular, like 300,000 reviews on some of these romantasy books in the fantasy genre. So yeah, they're wildly popular. They resonate with a lot of people. More power to you to find what you like. And same thing here. If you really love wish fulfillment, you're going to start really liking Quest Academy. It's just, it didn't start that way. There were costs to everything that was going on. And everything that the main character wanted to do was something that he had to, actually sweat and bleed over. And that's completely gone from the book now. Like, I don't even believe that the threat in the world, these demons, I don't even believe they're a threat anymore. Because he can just murder all of them without a care. Like, as far as I'm concerned, the book's done. Like, oh yeah, demons? Yeah, there's haven't been a problem in a long time now. So, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like book 5. I think I actively hate it. I just realized that. I think I actively hate book 5. So I can't recommend the series. But probably shouldn't be on the list unless you like wish fulfillment. Then yeah, do it. And I hope you love it. I hope you love it. Now we have Soul of the Warrior, Child Soldier. That's certainly a title, and it tells you a lot. Like, so child soldiers, huh? Is this going to be a plucky, happy-go-lucky kind of fantasy novel? No, I don't think it is going to be, Chief. I don't think it's going to be that at all. Coming of age, yeah, in an army. This is in the same vein as Iron-Blooded, more gritty fantasy, litrpg-ish sort of thing. Yeah. Now, it tells you right here, I wasn't sure what the blurb actually told you. Yeah, he has memories of his past life. Great, fantastic, wonderful. And he's got, where is it? Yep, he has to fight orcs that can splatter people. Very unlucky. Oh yeah, his ability to acquire stats and skills unparalleled. True. So it could very well go into wish fulfillment territory if it's not careful, but it hasn't done that yet. I enjoyed Soul of the Warrior a lot more, for example, than I did Quest Academy 5, because you can totally see the dude's like struggle Not entirely sure. That's not an AI cover. Might not be. Might not be. But yeah, if you're looking for more gritty fantasy, lit RPG type dealios, yeah, Soul of the Warrior is good. It's going to be right up there, like I mentioned, with Iron Blooded, to a lesser extent, Iron Tyrant, because Iron Tyrant doesn't quite, doesn't always fit that, but it's whatever, right? But if you're into that genre, if that's been growing on you, then you're probably gonna love Soul of the Warrior. Can't recommend it enough if you are into that. Yeah, kid, conscription rolls around and he's unlucky enough to have his stats exactly where they need to be for him to be conscripted despite his being, I think, technically underage at that time. I want to say he's technically doesn't meet the age requirement, but he met the stat requirement. If I remember, don't quote me on that. So he unexpectedly goes in. And I think by the end of the first book here, is he back home? I want to say he's back home. I don't remember. Honest, I don't remember. Either way, I do remember I liked it, and I therefore recommend it. Soul of the Warrior. Oh yeah. Now, one of the most looked forward to books of the year had to be Strength of the Few, because it came right on the back of Will of the Many, which kind of exploded in 2023. I'm sure it's fine, but it is a triple POV book. And the problem with that is if you really aren't into triple POVs or multiple POVs in general, it ain't gonna hit right with you, is it? And it soured it. Like, I wasn't in the mood to read a multi-POV book. One of them, for some reason, I just wasn't into. One of the story arcs from one of the POVs I wasn't into. Even though the POVs are essentially the one person broken up into like 3 different people, right? But I was really into one of them. I was okay with another one. And then every time I went back to a different one, I was just like, I don't care what happens to you. Can you please just die? And that soured it a bit. But if you liked Will of the Many and you're okay with multi-POVs, you're going to be okay with Strength of the Few. If you liked Will of the Many, but you don't want to like read multi-POVs, you're not going to like Strength of the Few. So you have to know what you like before deciding to really get into that. For me, I barely got through it because I just didn't like the multi-POVs. I just wasn't in the mood for a multi-POV book. So I'm going to recommend it because I like intellectually know it was pretty decent. It just wasn't wasn't for me at the time. All right, now here's something that's criminally underrated. Thunder Kraken. Kraken Rider Z. I do not understand why this isn't more popular. Like, you've got lots of fantasy with dragons and all sorts of stuff, right? How many books can you think of? It's like, oh yeah, he's a merman. Yeah, he's from the ocean. And he doesn't bond to a dragon because that's not what his people do. No. He bonds to a kraken, a terror of the deep, who's classically not good with the rest of the world because they tend to, of the boats that are going over for like trade and all their thing. It's like, oh yeah, you got a scary thing. We tend to try to kill those on sight. It's like, nah, he's cool. His name's Jessup. He's adorable. Hey, wave your many tentacles. Like, I love this thing. Like, sure, how do you avoid him? I don't know, just go inland. Obviously, who cares? I don't care. I love the merman and his freaking kraken, and I don't understand how more people don't love this book. This series. 240, what is it, 9 reviews. How does it have that few? 179 ratings on Goodreads. What in the ever-loving fudge? I don't get it. I don't understand. It's so good. People are stupid. That's what it is. People are stupid. I've decided. That's why. That's why. Like, stupid people aren't clicking on it. It's like, but I wanted a dragon. All right. We're almost through the books. And these are the ones that I'm recommending. They're not the ones that I've like not recommending, or the ones that I've deleted, or the ones I just like flat out freaking hated. Okay, Wild Era, Lit RPG progression. Remind me, which one book was this? I'm sorry. I've been recording for over an hour, so my brain's a little. Wildfire. Is he the one in the mine? He's the one in the mine. Okay, got it. Long story short, this is a pretty decent one. It's a little bit more fast foody, though, which isn't always a bad thing, you know? And it's a bit fast foody, and I really don't like the side characters. There are two side characters that he winds up looking after, essentially the two orphans that were friends with... How do I word this? Yeah, like this dude from 5,000 years ago essentially is reborn into like an orphan kind of duder man. And the orphan duder man had two other orphan friends, and he takes it under... he decided to take it upon himself to help them out and, you know, kind of raise them too, despite being like the same age as them. But I thought that was weak. That was like the weakest part of the whole thing. Because it's just like, the interactions there were not great. But aside from that, you know, you've got the dude. It's standard, you know, reincarnation thing. We're not breaking new ground here. Not even doing anything overly. It's just, you know, standard reincarnation thing. It's fine. That's what you were in the mood for? Yeah, it's cool. Fine. Can't go wrong with it. But again, little fast foody. Definitely not as good as Kraken Rider Z, man. And yet, $29.89. But for all of that, it's still a fine book. So, Words of Power by good old Shamish Stovall. I like the author most of the time because they did the the Arcanist series, right? Yeah, they did like the Academy Arcanist, and then they did and yeah, the Astro Academy with like Labyrinth. No, that's the same thing. The Frith Chronicles. There we go with Nightmare Arcanist. Yeah, I like that series a lot. So cool, absolutely. Once again, we have an idea where magic is governed by words of power. Essentially, you speak, you get like a ring, and so little Lord of the Ringsy right there. And you speak, I want to say 5. Was it 5? Do you see it? Do you list it here? I don't think so. Yeah, you speak like 5 words, kind of like into the void, to see which god will grant you their power and let you become a warlock. And yeah, his 5 words are a little unique. And the god that takes notice is a bit of a unique too, and sets upon him a sort of ticking clock. Like, okay, I'll do it. I'll grant you, and you're gonna do something for me now that your soul is mine. And yeah, you got a little bit of a crunch on you, so get moving. So I like it. Words Power is fantastic. It looks like it's once again one of the things that's just not clicking with people. Like, why? Is it bad SEO? Words of Power is kind of like hard to actually like search for, but Wild Era, Soul of the Warrior, those are more lit RPG friendly. Quest Academy is very easily searched. Millennial mage is easily searched. Hedge wizard is easily searched. Iron is easily searched in the genre, especially due to Iron Prince and now Iron Blooded and now Tyrant. So I don't know. It might be maybe it's the search thing because the book's great. The book's fantastic. Deserves another 0 on these reviews. Absolutely. Why it's not hitting, I don't know. There's interesting gods and beings in the book that the main character is going to interact with and try to make deals with in order to, you know, secure his power base. I mean, granted, the genre is overwhelmed by, you know, one man don't need no man kind of thing that goes off and does all the things by himself. And it's like, ooh, I don't need your help. And I definitely don't need your help. And I'm going to go over here and turn over this rock. And oh, look, a bunch of special abilities that no one else ever found. Like, is kind of plagued by that genre. And people like it. So, you know, whatever. Like I said, if that's what you like, more power to you. After all, Brondo, it has electrolytes. But yeah, Words of Power is definitely a total recommend. Total recommend. And I think they have 2 books out, right? I want to say 2. Yeah. There were the 2. The Words of Power and Empire of the Twin Suns. And I like both. I like both. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Soval's just not getting the love they deserve. I don't know why. What the deal there is. Who knows? But if you give it a try, I don't think you'll be disappointed. And with that, I think I'm done with my recommends from 2025. Have you read any of the things that I went over here? Let me know down below if you have. Are there things that you'd read that you think I might not have? Also, let me know down below. I'd be interested in those as well. Ooh, and did you read something on here that you hated? Be interested in that one too. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the little list here, and I will see you next time. Happy reading, everybody.